Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be talking about our brand new character coming to 2.0, which is going to be Sparkle. And by far, I think this character has been very hyped up for the longest amount of time. Of course, we know her by another name, which is Hanabi. And also, there is a couple of things that we just been seeing, float around the space of Honkai Star Rail for a very long time since release. And a lot of people have been excited for this character for sure. Of course, she is already sparking sporting two different roles or two different foundational elements of her character that are very exciting for a multitude of people. And that is by far, she is Quantum. So, Mono Quantum is going to be thriving very soon. And then we also have her being a Harmony character, which is a very important role in this game. One of the more broken, one of the more busted roles in this game because of how much value they show in their kit. Something that is unmatched at this current moment. A lot of the Harmony units are just so freaking good. And seeing that Sparkle is coming after REHOO and Mei, and of course with all the other characters around her, there's just so much competition when it comes to summoning on her or not. But today, of course, we are going to be looking at Sparkle. What's her best teams looking like? What are the better characters to that be paired with Sparkle? And also comparing very quickly because they do share a lot of similar elements when it comes to the crit damage buff, the damage dealt buff, having all this extra stuff. Very similar to Bronya. Of course, these are two characters that a lot of people have been talking about when comparing them to, just because they do provide the same amount of stuff in regards to action advance, crit damage, damage dealt, all that type of stuff. And a lot of people are wondering, is she going to be taking the bench soon? Bronya, is she going to be going down? Is she going to be less used versus Sparkle? That is something I do want to talk about because these two do have very defining traits as themselves. So we'll be looking at that in the team, all type of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and start looking at Sparkle. So looking at Sparkle, what is she going to be doing? Well, from the foundational level, she's already going to be changing some things. How Bronya has the game-changing ability of a whole turn whenever you want it, Sparkle has the same thing. Sparkle has the advance forward as well. Now, the thing I'm not looking at when it comes to Sparkle, and something we do need to notice, is that I don't think they're gonna full-on copy-paste scalings or copy-paste kits to new characters in the future. And looking at Sparkle, how she has a lot of similar stuff to Bronya, and then she also has the added benefit, which we do need to talk about, which is the 7-point skill bar, or also the ability to basically produce skill points as your ultimate. That's a pretty big thing. That's a pretty big busted thing for this game with how skill points are in this game, that we need to talk about skill points. We need to talk about the bar, how that works, all that type of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to go over within this video, but she has this type of capability to be able to produce skill points. She has this ability to produce a higher skill point bar. So foundationally, she's already really nice. She's already really good. Looking at Bronya and looking how she has very similar stuff to Bronya with the action advance, I don't think she's going to be 100% giving you a full-on turn immediately, just because I feel like that would just be a little too copy-paste. I feel like that would be too, in terms of making character different from each other. It would be a little weird to see that, oh, Sparkle has everything Bronya has. She just has one extra thing. It would be a little weird to look at it that way. I don't think they're going to make the action advance super crazy, but knowing that Sparkle and how much she is going to depend on giving you that crit damage, give you that damage dealt, I think these values will be higher while the action advance will be a little bit lower. I don't think it's going to be the overall, like, get a billion crit damage, give a billion damage dealt, and then also give you a turn. I don't think they're going to be scaling it that bad right now where we are in 2.0. So looking at Sparkle, she still provides a fat ton of value, a lot of benefit when it comes to it. And looking at what we've seen in the trailer, we do see that in the description on the website. Her ultimate is most likely going to be the full damage buff dealt for the team, which is a very good thing for dual DPS setups. And a lot of different teams are going to be coming out in the future as well. And then looking at her skill is going to be single target. So we do have to remember in dual DPS setups, although you will be giving a full-on damage boost to all allies through her ultimate, her skill is going to be for one ally. You are going to get that advance forward for one ally. You're also going to get crit damage for that one ally as well. So looking at that, that's a very cool thing. She is still going to single out one character in these dual DPS setups. But of course, having the extra skill points, having the biggest skill point bar is going to help out with the dual DPS setup regardless. What characters are going to be working with her? Well, we already know a couple that will be working very good with this character. And that's going to be someone like Dan Heng for sure. This character is going to love helping you out, get those skill points, and giving it to Dan Heng, letting him do his 3 skill point attack regardless, a bunch of different times. And not only that, we also have the added ability that whenever you use a skill point, you're going to be doing more damage. So someone who like Dan Heng, who's going to be using 3, someone like QQ, who's going to be using however many until she gets lucky enough, someone like Sella with her resurgence, we're going to be seeing these characters do a lot of extra damage now that they're going to be using a lot more skill points within these turns that we see. And this is a really good thing. They're giving characters that really want these skill points what they want, but we do need to look about other things in regards to these characters and looking at Sparkle and how she compares to Bronya. Where does Bronya fit where Sparkle is trying to take over? Well, 100% we're looking at Sparkle helping out these characters that really want skill points a lot more, rather than the advanced 4 that she fully gives, than the damage dealt buff that she gives to the full team. Sparkle is going to be a little bit more centralized in helping the full team out, and also providing a little bit more of non-damaging resources to these characters rather than Bronya. Bronya is going to give you the damage dealt, she's giving you the crit damage, she's also giving you cleanse, she's making sure that you can do the damage 100%. That is something that Sparkle does not have, which I'm assuming, which is a cleanse, because of course, like I said, copy and paste would be really weird. But looking at Sparkle, she's going to be more team oriented. Everyone can use these skill points, everyone can use this damage dealt buff. Only one character can get the advanced 4 and one character can get the crit damage, but everybody else can get a lot of these other things. Bronya has the same thing as well, but the crit damage for the full team isn't really why she's used. It's for that one character for the most part. And looking at Bronya, she's gonna be more hyper carry specific, of course. This has been a trait that she's had since the beginning of the game for the most part, and Sparkle is going to be taking that role and moving it somewhere else. She will be the more sub DPS oriented, or even possibly if you want it to be hyper carry as well. So she'll be in that limbo where Bronya is full on hyper carry, where Ruame is full on sub DPS, can be used in hyper carry, and then Sparkle is somewhere in the middle. She can be used in hyper carry, and most likely will be used in hyper carry for certain characters like Qingque and Dan Heng, while she can be used in certain situations with someone like Topaz and Numbi, where they're going to have a team where most of them are just going to be spamming skill points. Topaz and Numbi is going to spam their skills to bring Numbi forward. Having your character like Jingyuin, having a character like Dr. Ratio, all these characters are going to benefit from having these extra amount of skill points that will be helping out with Hanabi or Sparkle, and she will be just dead in the middle. So when you're looking at someone like Bronya, when we're looking at someone like Ruame, we have to look at something in regards to a lot of people looking at, should I summon for them even though I have these two? Should I summon for them even though I have only one of them? And the answer is, depending on your account, depending on how you've been working around MOC and Pure Fiction, do you really need it? Looking at Bronya, looking at Ruame, their value that they give to the team when it comes to the amount of buffs, when it comes to the amount of extra damage that you're getting from these characters, are always going to stay at the same spot. Bronya will probably always be S tier. Ruame will probably always be one of the best characters in the game, just because of how much universal value they give to their teams. And Sparkle, I see them fitting right there with them, just because of, again, how much value she provides to these teams. And looking at your account and looking at how MOC works, where we only need 2 teams at the current moment, it'd be funny to see where we get more teams in this game. But looking at Bronya, looking at Ruame, say you have these 2 characters, you already have both of these spots filled out. Both of the teams are filled out with a really good support, so you really don't need another support unless you are really looking forward to using someone like Celis, someone like Dan Heng, someone like Qingque, who are really going to benefit from using all these skill points, or someone like Topaz and Numbi, where they're going to have another DPS with them and also spamming skill points at the same time. These are the situations where you would want Sparkle, and these are situations where she is going to benefit the most. But when it comes to a normal team, when it comes to the many characters that we have at the current moment before Sparkle is released, you have to think about this one idea. How have I been using this character since the beginning of when I got them? Characters like Jingliu, she's not going to need Sparkle. Sparkle is not going to help in her department because Jingliu barely uses skill points. Characters like, what was it called? I'm blanking right now. Characters like Blade also cannot use Sparkle because although you are getting this nice crit damage, you are getting this slight advance forward as well, the skill points that you're going to be getting are going to go to waste. There's not going to be a lot of situations where the characters like these in hyper carry situations are not going to work with Sparkle, and you will 100% want to use this in a dual DPS situation. There's a lot of characters right now when it comes to characters like Hanya, characters like Ting Yun, characters like Pella, characters like Asta. All these support characters have been absolutely amazing and still provide an enormous amount of value at the current moment. So looking at the supports that we have right now versus Sparkle, is she 100% needed? I wouldn't say only if you like those characters that use a lot of skill points like Dan Heng, Selig, Qingque, and all of them. Those are when you would summon for Sparkle. But if you already have Ruame, if you already have Bronya, if you already have all these 4-star supports, you can probably use those Jades somewhere else where you're going to enjoy another character. Because I know a lot of people have been looking at all the characters that are going to be coming out when it comes to 2.0, 2.1, even reruns for 2.2. Something like Topaz, Jingliu, Fu Xuan, Luocha. A lot of reruns are going to end up coming out in the far future, maybe even cooler characters in 2.2. But I know that's a long time waiting. But I know just a lot of people have been looking at Acheron, Aventurine, Black Swan, Sparkle herself, and you're just not knowing what to summon on because you want all of these characters. You eventually want to get all of these characters. And if you're able to shred off Sparkle, which I'm not saying don't summon for her, I'm saying you can if you want to. She's still a really nice character, and she thrives under certain conditions with being dual DPS, with being with a character that really likes skill points. That's when I say, yeah, you should probably go for it, because that's your playstyle. You like that type of playstyle, you should probably incentivize and invest in helping out that playstyle. While if you're just looking for overall general support, an overall general character to just summon on that's going to add some value, while Sparkle is that type of character, you have many characters that fulfill the same purpose. Like I said before, Pella, Hanya, Tingyun, Yukong, Asta, all these characters have been absolutely amazing, have been able to tear out MOC with a lot of their respective teams. While you also have characters like REHOO and Bronya, who, for the most part, if you have these characters on your team, you're 100% going to keep them on one side of MOC regardless. So that's pretty much it. So other than that, that's going to be it for this video when it comes to Sparkle and how she works, what team she's going to like, how she compares to a lot of these supports, what supports would, in regards to Sparkle, where they would be at. And a lot of it comes down to, do you like the skill point heavy play style? Get Sparkle. If you're not into the skill point heavy play style, you have a lot of supports in the game right now that can basically benefit from having any amount of teams with them, like Hanya, Tingyun, Asta, Pella. They all have their respective teams. They all do massive value benefits for the team that they're going to be on. Same thing with REHOO and Bronya. If you already have those characters, you've basically already perma-filled one of those teams for your MOC runs. And if you have both of them, there's kind of no reason to pull another Harmony character. So other than that, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think about Sparkle. Let me know if she is going to be replacing your Bronya, or if you think that, you know, I think Bronya is still better. But I would love to see that in the comments. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.